every laugh, every smile, every hug, every kiss, every touch, every person in my life that I care about and love. But wait, maybe I'm getting too emotional. That's exactly what they say you ain't supposed to do. Suppress your feelings, never talk about your pain. Can't appreciate the sun without acknowledging it rains, right? That's right. So this a moment of clarity. And make sure you always protect your energy. You stay focused and your life gon' be lit. And you are now rocking with Celeste The Therapist. Let's go.
Hi, beautiful people. If you're watching me on the replay, thank you for watching me on the replay. My name is Celeste. I am a therapist from Boston. And my goal in coming on here is to just help you shift the way you think. And I've been actually able to do that by talking to people that are doing things to empower the lives of others, by sharing their stories. It's been a very powerful, hey, Missy. It's been a very, hey, Marcus. So I'm streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. And so I have a podcast. If you don't know, I have a podcast called Celeste The Therapist Podcast. It looks just like this. You can find it streaming on all podcasting platforms. This is episode 207. That means that I've done 206 episodes. Like, I can't believe I've done 206 episodes. But 8 p.m. be coming quick. I know it do be coming quick. So I have, so Monday through Friday, I come on 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk to somebody who's empowering other people. Starting next month in June, on Wednesdays, it'll just be me. So my podcast, before I started coming on video after pandemic hit, once a week, it would just be me kind of talking about issues we go through and some solutions we can work on dealing with them. And so pandemic happened. I started to bring guests on, completely forgot about the fact that I was coming on by myself sometimes. And so I've gotten word that people miss that. So I said, starting next month on Wednesdays, you'll just have me and I will answer any questions. I love doing that. Prior to podcasting, I started on Periscope and I would answer questions about mental health. I would talk about mental health, and people were able to get these like aha moments and work on their like kind of healing process just through hearing me talk about it. So I'm like really grateful for this platform. I'm grateful for all the people that have been following me for years, people that have been like really rocking out with me. Like, y'all are so dope. So before I bring on my special guest, I wanted to put on this crisis text line really quick. 741-741. It is a crisis text line where you can text and be directly connected to a crisis counselor. This is just one of, there's so many different things that are happening in your area that I would highly suggest you connect with if you are struggling. One thing that is important is to not struggle alone. Hi, Trifania. One thing that is so important is not to struggle alone. I believe that community is important. It's important for us to not be alone in the struggle. And sometimes people are physically and literally alone. And I get that. But I just don't want the only voice or the only thoughts to be your thoughts if they're negative. It's important to kind of tap into some support. Trifania was on Friday, and we had a really good episode. She's somebody that's like passionate about helping people heal because of her own process of how she grew up, and she's doing the work. You could find her episode 206 on my podcast, which was right before this. And before I bring in my special guest, really quick. So we are celebrating June 5th. We're celebrating. We're going to party. So the crazy thing about the pandemic is that like this, it got us kind of shut in. But the other amazing thing is that now I can actually have a celebration with people that have been rocking with me from around the world. So anybody and everybody can like kind of join in on the celebration. So that's really exciting for me. I have people that stream my episodes in over 100 countries. And so to be able to have everybody like come together and have a toast with me, it's going to be amazing. It's a free party. All you got to do is go to Eventbrite and get the link so that you can get the Zoom link when it's time. Go to celestetherapist.com. We're celebrating 100,000 downloads. that happened this month. So I started with 1, and now I have 100,000. So that's super exciting. So I'm going to bring on my special guest, Jermaine. He's been on the show before. Super easy, natural going person. He's like, I just hope he doesn't talk trash about me, but he's a really good person.
Hey, how you doing?
Jermaine, we met actually through Rami Malco.
Yes, great book.
So I'm happy to have you on again. The last time we talked about knowing yourself, the importance of knowing yourself. Can you introduce yourself to my audience, please?
Hi, yes, I'm Jermaine Morris. I joke all the time and say all I do is talk. I'm forever running my mouth.
He ain't joking. Jermaine is not joking.
All I do is talk. I've joked. I said every check I've gotten for the last 2 decades has had a microphone attached to it. So whether broadcasting, speaking, radio host, do a podcast, speaking engagements, just all I do is run my mouth for a living.
And you love it.
I do. They told me in high school, find something you're good at, you'll figure out a way to get paid for it. I found out I'm good at running my mouth, so I've just been running with it ever since.
So even though I'm joking, saying he runs his mouth, he actually talks about a lot of good things. And we're going to talk about some of the things that he has been doing. So tell people a little bit about, I know you say you run your mouth, but you have a podcast and you do some other things. Tell people a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I host a cold cup of coffee. That's the morning show. And then I do the Say Something podcast with Jermaine Morris and Barry Axis. The cold cup of coffee is more rooted in like personal development type stuff. The podcast with Barry is more social issues, community-based stuff. Professionally, I work as a self-awareness and personal development coach and do consultant work, either for an individual who's just trying to reach some goals in their life, some corporate stuff, like when it comes to staffing or the infrastructure of a business. I even do it for like couples counseling, all the stuff based around using the DISC assessment. So
how is it that you got so passionate about helping people? Tell people about the tag. Why did you call it a cold cup of coffee? Because I think that kind of says a lot about the way you think.
Cold cup of coffee. It's a real life without the sweeteners. It's a cold and sometimes bitter but necessary sip of reality.
I hate cold coffee. Like I will not drink cold coffee.
It's a weird thing. I heard it I just heard it was a random phrase in a movie I saw years ago that it was just a one-off. It wasn't even like a poignant part of the movie. And the lady was just like, here's another cold cup of coffee. And it was just like the mentality of it was like, yeah, that's kind of how I deliver information at times. Mm-hmm. It's I used to get a lot of friends who would contact me with questions or needing help on things or whatever. And I would spend a lot of time trying to give information being nice.
Yeah.
And it wasn't received the way that the conversation wasn't going the way that I thought it should go. Mm-hmm. Like, because I was spending too much time worrying about hurting their feelings. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I had to just start just getting more to the point. And then it was more like, it's real life without the sweetness. And it actually started with a blog. So I started doing a blog. A cold cup of coffee was a segment of blogs.
Okay.
And then those were the real, all right, I need to express something directly.
Yeah.
And then from the blog came the radio show.
Okay. And then you became passionate. Is it because you've gone through some things in your life and you've been trying to give people the raw deal on what's happening?
I was always the friend that everybody called for help, mm-hmm. asked questions, advice or whatever. And so the blog started because people kept calling my phone. I was like, look, if you have a question, just refer to your notes and see if I've covered it. So before you call me, see if I've covered the subject.
They was calling you like that?
My phone, to this day, to this day, my phone stay ringing off the hook. And so a woman came across the blog, and then we got in a conversation. That's what birthed the radio show. But I've always been fascinated with people. I love talking to people and learning about people. And so I joke all the time too. I say I'm not that smart. I just have a really good memory and an ability to connect dots where some people can't see them. Mm-hmm. So hearing enough stories of enough different people, enough life experience, when somebody presents something to me, almost like a well-traveled person. I've been here before. Like, so I've seen this before. So I'm like, okay. And then it connect the dots and come to solutions.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, this is something that you've been doing, you're passionate about. Yeah. Now, COVID happens, pandemic happens. You are in California, right?
Yep. 100 degrees today. Yep.
All right. It was a little cool in Boston. Nobody asked me for that temp report, but I don't want 100 degrees either. Dang, it was
I've been inside most of the day, so it's cool.
So, COVID happens, pandemic happens. What changed for you in your life and with your profession?
I'm actually enjoying it.
Okay.
I have never had this much free time in my entire adult life.
Okay.
Like more time to myself.
Yeah.
So a lot of the businesses and jobs that I've done are non-essential. So a lot of the stuff that I would do just doesn't exist. We're not getting together. We're not doing stuff. I've been a DJ by trade for 20 years, whatever. Just a bunch of stuff that I used to do that I just don't do. Speaking engagements where we gather together and stuff, I don't do them. Yeah. And so what I found is that I've been fortunate. I'm old, so I'll be 43 this year. So I've been on the earth long enough to develop some skill sets. And I've been spending the last 5 to 6 years trying to minimize travel and using other people. So most of the stuff that I do, I can do from home.
Okay.
So when this hit and no one could go anywhere and everything's on lockdown, I enjoyed it first because I got to rest. I didn't have to be anywhere. Yeah. And then I appreciate it because I started tapping into my brain of figuring out, okay, how can you do what you do with what you have? Yeah. And so I started developing. I couldn't do any group events. We're not holding any public forums anymore. So we started developing the Keys to Me self-development workshops. We do those classes. And so I'm not speaking in front of groups anymore. I'm speaking in front of the screen. Coaching and consultation work. I do that. I can do that online. Maybe the task, go over the assessment. We do our meeting like me and you were talking now. Yep. And so I'm scheduling out my day. I work as much as I want to. I rest as much as I want to. I'm actually enjoying this. Like I know some people are really stressing right now. I'm in no rush to go back to. Actually, I don't even think I'll ever go back to what it was before. Oh, wow. I found so many things that fit me better now with the time to do it, the resources to do it. I didn't appreciate it. I didn't like how life was before. I was tired all the time. I was running around. I just felt like there was not enough minutes in the day. I'm in no rush to go back to that. So I'm actually appreciative of this time period. Okay, so that's good that, the beauty and the struggle is that you were able to kind of find your rhythm and you got more balance and you tweaked some things a little bit and now we're here. Yes. Now, I want to hear about the development programs because one of the reasons why I came on live on these platforms 5 days a week is because I realized people are home and the development stuff that you're doing was already set in motion before the pandemic, right? Yeah. And I know people were already struggling before the pandemic because of the nature of my job. I know that people struggle. So my mindset, as soon as they started to say like, lock yourself in the house, like wash your hands, I just kept thinking like mental health. Like people are going to be isolated. People are going to be struggling. How can I like come on and offer some advice? The first week I was just coming on and I find myself saying the same thing because I didn't know what I was going to do, Jermaine. I came on the first week. That's how we are. That's all.
And I was just like, like don't forget to take care of your mental health. Said the same thing the next day. Because I'm like, I want to tell the people, but I'm telling the people the same thing. And then I was all like, let me ask some people to come on, right? And so I've had people come on over the last couple of months who are doing different things. So it's important for me to like share what other people are doing in case other people are able to tap into it. So I would really like to hear about the program that you have developed and that you're doing, because I think it's right up your alley around personal development.
Yes. Okay. So one of them is we have a museum out here. It's the Sojourner Truth Cultural Museum. And it's kind of where our city is set up. It's like really like a hub for a lot of Black businesses, classes, all kinds of stuff in this one place. So they're kind of like you, a woman, Shona McDaniels, who is running it, saw the need that there's a lot of people in the community who are going to be home, who are going to be needing a lot of different things in this time period. Yeah. So talking with her is when I started, okay, well, what's something that we can do for the people who are at home? That's where the keys to me, self-awareness and personal development workshops started. So we're like, okay, so we do these virtual pop-ups. So for everybody who's at home, okay, at this time on these days, these different programs are on. Some of them are about meditation, healing. Some are about, painting at home. Some of them are about whatever. The one that I developed was specifically, okay, while we're going through this change and this transition, here are here's some keys, like keys to your door, keys to your car, keys to me about how I can understand myself better moving forward. Nice. So we address our communication styles, potential blind spots in the way that we see our own performance and how other people interact with us. We break down kind of how we feel about things right now. Like, is this a scary time? Is this an exciting time? And we really kind of break down the different keys to where our strong points are that we can lean into. And then let's be aware of some of our potential blind spots that may keep us out of position. So that specific program, the Keys to Me stuff, is what I do with the Sojourner Truth Multicultural Museum, the virtual pop-ups.
And that's obviously something that anybody can tap into because it's virtual.
Yeah, if you know me or come across any of the pages, I'll post, when we do the dates. Right now, we've been doing them the first and third Friday of the month at 8 p.m. Okay. And it's free.
Nice. Okay.
So anybody, anywhere in the world, we do them Zoom. I think everybody's living on Zoom now. And we just, and so we just set them up, and it's supposed to be from 8 to 9, but we are religiously going until 10:30.
Oh, so it's good nuggets.
Yeah, we get into because it's like me and you. So we talk, and it's not like I'm just standing in front of a classroom with a chalkboard. It's here's some points and stuff. Here's how we apply it. Now, how does this hit with you? And we get real specific to the individual so they can walk away with something right now. Like something I'm real big about is I'm not a theorist. So I don't want to talk to people about, well, in 6 months, you might kind of see something that might resemble progress. Like, what's something you can literally do when we end this conversation?
Yeah.
That's what I focus on. That's so all the programs I do are all based around right now. So as soon as we finish talking, do something with this right now. Almost like you went to go see a personal trainer. He's not going to tell you start running in 2 months. He's going to say, when you go home tonight, do 30 crunches, do 15 push-ups, walk around the block. Like, here's something you do right now. That's how I work.
And why is that powerful? Because one thing I always tell people, like, if you're listening to me now, you can start changing. I'll say, what time is it? It's 8:22. You can start changing at 8:23. Why is it so powerful for people to kind of like take what they're getting and trying to implement it into their life in the moment, as opposed to saying, like, I'll start on Monday or top of the month?
Yeah, so for some people, it's not even about, it's a factor. It's their level of commitment. Well, if you say, okay, well, if you come in on next Monday and we'll start all the things that can happen between now and next Monday, keep them out of position. But for some people, when it's about self-awareness and personal development, and I feel scared right now. I have anxiety right now. I have depression right now. You're trying to tell me something. So in 10 days, when we talk again, I'm supposed to start. Like, so for me, when it comes to who we are and what we're doing and moving forward, take this right now. Yeah. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not a theorist. I'm not going to sit around and talk in these wide range open spaces and just, wax poetic and, all that stuff. Let's start where you are. Let's figure out where you're trying to get to, and let's implement some steps we can do right now to get you there.
That's dope. That's dope. And tell me about the other program that you developed.
Okay, so the Ascension program is one that I do with kids. And so everything that I do in these coaching and consultation is based around the DISC assessment, which is basically a test that gives to identify every human being, all of our natural preference. And so it's not written in stone. It's not, forever, but how our preferred way to deal with problems, people, the pace we work, and procedures. And
give an example of preferred preference for people listening that may not really understand what you're saying.
Okay, so we naturally are aggressive when it comes to dealing with problems, or we fall back and we defer. We naturally love to be around people, or we naturally would rather not be around them. naturally work at a quick pace. Naturally, we take forever. You know what I mean? Rules are made to be followed. Rules are just kind of a guideline. Like, we all have a natural way that we do stuff. What I love about this particular assessment is that it breaks down our natural, who we are, left to our own devices, and then our adaptive, who we become when we're aware of other people, or when things when we become stressed or we get under pressure. And so we can start seeing the gaps in how we do things and why things aren't going the way we would like them to go from the assessment test. So with the Ascension program with children, it bases like our tendencies and our preferred way of doing things. So with the kids, we get them like 16 to 20 for this particular program. And we go through the assessment test. We break down their consultation, kind of break down the tendencies, help them better understand themselves. It comes with a financial literacy class.
Wow.
Because you can find there's a correlation between spending habits and our preferred way of doing things. So some people are naturally inclined to be more of a saver. Some people are naturally inclined to be more of a spender. Based upon this test, I can tell what your bank account looks like just going off through your assessment stuff. I don't even need to see your statements. I know how you spend, impulse buyer, all these different things are all linked into your test. So we give you the assessment test, break down some tendencies, help them understand. Give them the financial literacy class, which is just basic terminology, basic understanding. And it closes out with a field trip to a credit union. And at the credit union, for all the ones under 18, their parent has to be present. For the ones over 18, they don't. The field trip at the credit union kind of goes over how the bank operates, getting loans, home loans, all that sort of stuff. And then at the end, they open an account.
That's pretty dope.
So if the kid is 16, 17, 18, they may have no use for a credit union until they're 25, 26, 27. But when they do, they've got an 8, 9, 10-year relationship with this credit union. So when they need to get a small business loan, get a home loan, whatever, they've already got an established rapport. They've already been a client for 6, 7, 8, 9 years because they understand finances early. Once they get to saving early, they'll already have through their assessment, I have a tendency for money to burn a hole in my pocket. So let me do some stuff here. Or I'm an innate saver. Like, I save anyway. And so they'll be more inspired to save when they see the money starting to rack up. But with this financial literacy and understanding of who they are as an individual, and then they're within the system that they're going to need later anyway. It's about giving them the Ascension program. You figure out who you are, learn the steps to understanding you, self-development or personal development, self-awareness. Now you give you more tools for financial literacy so you understand, give you a leg up moving forward as you're in this financial institution and world, and you're just constantly elevating to where it is that you want to get to. So that's the Ascension program it came up with for children.
Why is that only for children? That sounds like an adult program too.
I start with kids. So like I said, because they have yet to go out in the world and start, because what happens is as soon as they turn 18, they start getting all these credit card things in the mail, and they think that a credit card is free money. And a lot of them haven't figured out who they are yet. So let's get ahead of the curve before you're making all these decisions for yourself. Let's understand how you make decisions before you start wanting to give into the impulses that you have for things that you want to do. Let's understand your impulses.
I think that's dope. That is for kids. I 100% could have used that. Like, where were you when I was 18? Because I could have used that because I thought the credit cards was free money.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, how come you stop at 20? Why don't you extend the program? Because it's
okay. So I do the assessment and coaching. That's what I do for adults.
Okay.
So the specific program with the tour and all that's the financial, that is specifically for kids because I don't charge children.
Okay.
So I get with different people, different programs. We have one out here, the Voice of the Youth. It's a great mentorship leadership program. I'll pair with people. And then even if I just do kind of float the cost for the number of kids in my class, I don't charge children.
Okay.
And so I don't want there to be any excuses. And I'm a Black male in this world, and I just see where a lot of us don't have opportunity and access to things. Not that we can't learn them, not that we wouldn't appreciate them. It's just that there's nobody coming around teaching us. Mm-hmm. And I came up with this program because I saw bits and pieces of this in other cultures across the nation. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, let me take the best of the things that I've seen and apply it to what I know how to do, and let me start doing it at home.
Dang, yo, I love that. That's so good. And how long have you been working with the kids?
This will be the 6th year.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. That's really good, Jermaine.
Yeah. So I started with the Manhood Mentoring Conference. We do that every January. And so I bring in different speakers, guys in athlete, NBA, NFL players, radio and TV guys, community workers, teachers, clergy members, people of the community. And that's a male only event. So we just get all these young boys in there and we just talk to them. Each year's a theme. One year it was living by principles, not just your feelings. One of them was addressing conflict resolution and healing. One was about, character and who you are. This last year, 2020, the theme was my brother is my brother and not my enemy. So about the way that we see and identify ourselves and then how we see and identify each other. So every year's the theme. So we just did our last one in January. And then we do financial empowerment summits throughout the year. And all I do is talk.
Wait, so because you're so amazing.
Well, thank you.
You really are, Jermaine. One of the things I want you to do before you leave is kind of give people some kind of takeaways about what they can do right now. And, if they find themselves, whether they're struggling or next step, because you have a really, outside of following you, so follow Jermaine. You follow Jermaine on all social media platforms. If you're listening to this on the podcast, the link is in the show notes. But what can they do right now to kind of start working on their own self-development?
Okay, so one of the things, one of the principles to kind of work at when people are kind of trying to figure out what they want to do, is the question, you got what it takes, or is the question, do you got what it takes? And so kind of what that means is that for some of us right now, you've got a jump rope, the ankle weights, you got the Bowflex, you got a treadmill, all this stuff at your house because you're trying to get in shape. So you've got what it takes to get in shape. Your issue is that you don't have drive, commitment, passion, or consistency. So you've got what it takes, but you don't got what it takes. So is the question, do I have what it takes? Meaning, do I have access to resources and these things that I need? Because if the first one is a no, like you said, I have the drive, the passion, the energy, the love. I just don't know where to go. I don't have resources. I don't have these things. So the first thing is separating which one is it? Is this a question of I don't have access to resources? There's not people I can talk to. There's not groups discussions I can be a part of, books I can read, seminars I can go to, online chat rooms, whatever. Is this a question I don't have resources? Or is this a question of, yes, those things are there, but I just don't really want to do them? Or I just don't really feel like it, or I can't stay consistent. So is this a question of you got what it takes? Or is this a question of you got what it takes? And so first off, all about self-awareness and identification. So let's start with where we are. And when we have that honest conversation, say it's the question of I don't have resources. You're like, I'm looking for help. I don't know what to do. I'm stressed out. I got anxiety. I'm trying to make a way, and I'm hitting this brick wall. So then we start talking, well, okay, look at your network. Most places where you live, well, I guess it kind of depends on what your problem is. Most places where you live, there's access to information. Yeah. So if it's money right now, because for some people that's the case, their finances are tight. That's a little more difficult. But if we're talking about how we are moving forward, how can I work this anxiety, this depression, this stuff? Okay, are we reaching out to people? Are there people like yourself who offer this information for free? And there's a lot. Throughout this country right now. There's a lot of therapists who are giving their time, giving their energy. There's platforms like this where people are saying, here, just holler at me. Here, just come and talk. Make sure that if we're feeling like we don't have resources, what's the level of reaching out we're doing? Because there's times where we feel like we don't have help, but then when you ask everybody around us, the first thing they'll say is, she never said anything. He never said anything. So if we don't feel like we have resources or people to talk to or reach out to, let's start with, okay, how many people am I actually reaching out to? I'm getting the ego out the way. If the second one is, I know there's somebody who will talk to me. I know there's places I can go. I know there's stuff, but I just can't seem to get there. I can't seem to get motivated. I can't seem to stay consistent. Then that's when you got the real world conversation with yourself of what's more uncomfortable, going through that process of of getting up when we don't want to get up or talking to people when we don't want to talk to them versus the current situation that we're sitting in. You know, nobody gonna make you get on the treadmill, but what's more uncomfortable? That first week on the treadmill where we just sweaty and hate this whole thing and whatever, or how we feel right now. You just have to come to grips. At some point, we have to say, you know, I gotta go.
Yeah. You
know, I gotta get up. I gotta talk to somebody. I got, you know, and I know it's kind of easy to say for somebody else, you know, to people when they're in it.
Yeah.
When you're sitting in it, but like I said, the first thing start off with, is it a resource issue or is it, you know, a determination issue? More often than not, it's the determination
issue.
Yeah, more often than not, we have access to resources and people. We just can't get there. And then you just make a decision for yourself. Am I okay with staying how I am? Yes. All right, then stay how you are. But if you really aren't and you really want to change, then you may have to get out of your preferred state, out of your preferred comfort zone to start getting the changes you want to get to where it is you want to get to.
Dope. I gotta do a follow-up question because, you know, I feel like I can never stop with you, and I know you don't care if I don't stop.
All I do is talk. We do the whole thing. I'm on your schedule.
So Jermaine just talked about the self-awareness piece, being honest about like what it is. Do you have what it takes? Do you have what it takes? Me and Jermaine realize it's like you do have what it takes inside, but a lot of times is you're standing in your own way. One of the things I hear people say a lot is that I can't find the motivation. Like, I want to do it, but I ain't got no motivation. Can you tell people about how motivation comes and how being consistent is so important, and with the consistency, the motivation comes?
Okay. So a big thing is for some people, they feel like motivation is jet fuel.
Yeah.
Like you just spring out of bed and you just ready to run like Rocky going up the steps. You know, that you're just going to be super excited about something. That's not really motivation, like how I look at it. So what I look at is that I look at the process. So I have a exercise bike that I have to use here because genetically, if I eat, you know, if I smell a cookie, I'll gain 10 pounds. So, you know, my family, we're from Alabama, we big people. If I don't stay committed if I don't stay the course, I'll be around here looking like Reuben. So I'm not motivated about working out. Right. I don't get excited about working out. But what I do is commit a certain degree of time and energy to the process of doing it, just because I know if I stick to this process and I do it, I'll get the results that I want. Like some people are linked to strictly results driven. And it's hard to stay motivated on a process that has a prolonged end result. You're trying to lose 30 pounds and you're like, man, I went hard for 2 days. I didn't lose an ounce. Man, forget this. It's hard to get motivated day 3 because you gave your all and didn't see any results.
Yeah.
But when you get linked to the process of instead of the results of, there's no way that you can work out giving your all for 3 to 4 days a week and there not be results.
Yeah. So
sometimes it's just, let's just fall in love with the process. You hear people all the time, trust the process, fall in love with the process. I was horrible about that forever. I was a notorious start and stopper, and my life looked accordingly. Because all these things that I started and stopped, I was treating my life like a side chick. Holler at it on the weekends every now and then, just when the mood hit me. And my life looked accordingly. But when I sat there and treated my life like a marriage, consistent.
A good marriage, a healthy marriage.
Yeah, when you feel like it or not, when you're not always in the mood, but you know it's for the cause. Like when you just do these things, then I started seeing results. So to me, motivation is not what does it look like at the finish line. To me, motivation is celebrating small wins, appreciating small victories, and building upon those. Because you may not lose 30 pounds in a week, but you'll be happy when you see 1. Get you a digital scale. But when you lose 0.1, you can see some growth. But when you just but when you stick to the process, that's what I had to learn. I had to learn to fall in love with the process, not the result. And that's what drives me to do things, as opposed, I was so results driven. And I used to feel great when I accomplished something, and I would throw something away if it wasn't working the way I wanted. It wasn't coming at the speed I wanted it to come at. Once I got rid of being results driven, I got it to the point where I'm all about the process, and I saw gains in every area that I applied that to.
That's good. Yo, that's so dope. I have to have you on again because I always enjoy our time together.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
One of the things what Jermaine is talking about, because I know a lot of times people like me and him will throw around these terms like fall in love with the process. And when you're in the middle of it, it's like, yeah, of course you could say that, Celeste and Jermaine, because y'all are where you are. Yeah. But I will say to try not to over intellectualize it and just kind of do the action. And as you're doing the action, I feel like everything comes together. You know what I mean? Like not trying to read too much in it and just kind of do it. The more you do it, your body and mind starts to fall in love with the process that you're doing. And you'll start to actually be more committed and more consistent because your body's getting acclimated to it. So that's important.
I'll real quick, something more real world, less book. Okay, so I reached a period of, I know I'm gonna wrap this up and be quick because I know I'm long-winded in the video. So there was a period in my life where I made every mistake you can make. So I put things in proper perspective. In a 6-week time period, I lost the job I had, the girl I was dating, the home I was living in, a bunch of money, and I took a telephone pole at about 50 miles an hour. I was like, am I born under a bad sign? Who did I tee off in a past life? Like everything that could go wrong seemed to go wrong in like a 6-7 week time period. So I literally had to start over. Like over. I went from my own nice little spot to I was staying with my best friend, sleeping on his floor. It was me, him, his baby mama's sister, their 2 kids in a 2-bedroom. That would become I got a job. I got a DJing gig once a week. My brother got me working the mail room at a phone company. Another brother got me working a warehouse job overnights. Like I literally had to rebuild my life, like start over. So when I talk about like a process and starting where you are, I literally mean saving money. I got the jug and started dropping loose change in the jug. That's how I started saving money. When I talk about rebuilding, getting in better shape, that was literally walk around the block. That's literally, you do 3 push-ups in a row, that's 3. We're going to try for 4 tomorrow. That's literally, you can't read for more than 20 minutes. Okay, then read for 19 and start from there. Like I literally mean one step at a time, the rebuilding process until you get to where you want to get to. I don't come from money. I don't come from, my father was a garbage man. My mama worked at a department store. We was, solid, but, and then my personal life as an adult, I've had some good years. I had some bad years, but wherever you're in the middle of it, when it feels like, and I know what depression feels like, I know what homeless feels like. So you just got to start with where you are, with what you have. That whole idea of fantasizing about what other people have or what you used to have, all that, throw that out. What do I literally have on me right now? This $3.50, this quarter tank of gas, this pair of jeans. Like I'm one step at a time where you are with what you have. And like I said, celebrate the small wins, appreciate the small victories, and build off of those.
That's good. I love it. Start where you are. That's what we're going to name the episode. Start where you are.
So I know I talk to people now, they're like, man, you seem like it's good. No, I know struggle.
I gotta tell the people because they be thinking that we just started right here. And I'm like, nah. It was a struggle. It was a struggle.
Stay there for a minute. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I was. And I think that's worse because I had gotten okay when all that fell apart. I had my nice little plush apartment. I was feeling myself, nice little car. Thought I was just living it up. And to go from that to carless, homeless, jobless, penniless, like starting, that's worse. I think when you start and struggle, you become familiar with it and you just kind of, the bar gets low. Yeah. When you start low and then elevate high and then you back lower than you initially started, that messes with you. And you got to really start figuring some stuff out.
That's so true.
True. I learned in the process of what was really important to me. How was I spending my energy? What was my focus? What was going on? And I'm not saying I figured it out immediately because I was, anybody who knew me in them, we call those the transitional years. Anybody who knew me after all that happened, I wasn't in the best place for a minute. But one step at a time, small victories, one step and building off of that.
Jermaine, I love it. I love you. I love everything that you do.
Like, I always appreciate
I appreciate you coming on. So people, his email is right here. If you listen to this on a podcast, go to the show notes for his email. But he's the host of a Cold Cup of Coffee. On social media platforms, you can find him, Jermaine Morris, CEO.
At J Morris, CEO.
J Morris, CEO. And then Team Effort Program at Gmail. Shoot him an email.
Yeah, if you have any questions about any of the programs, whatever, just email me there. All the social medias are the same: Twitter, IG, YouTube, J Morris, CEO. Creating exciting opportunities, not Chief Executive Officer. So,
thank you, Jermaine. I appreciate you.
Always love talking to you.
Bye.
Bye.
That was good. I enjoyed talking to him. He's amazing. I appreciate y'all for rocking out with me. Make sure y'all follow Jermaine. Good nuggets. Always good nuggets from Jermaine. I've been following him for a while. A while, and he on the podcast you can find the episode we did about knowing thyself. So if you enjoyed what you heard today, if you listen to the previous podcast that he was on about knowing yourself, it was an even more deeper conversation. And anytime if you start following him, one of the things he said is starting where you are and following, like, how if you're following me, like, you're kind of going to get things that'll help you shift the way you think. Following Jermaine, you'll get these nuggets that'll be like, man, like, sometimes he'll say things and I'll be like, dang, that's so good. Because it just feeds my spirit. It's kind of like if I eat a chocolate piece of cake, I'd be like, yo, that's so good. And so for my spiritual, like, wellness, people like him really get me, like, excited, where I'm just like, wow, that's so good. Like, that's like my thing that I need to feed my soul, and it keeps me going. I can't keep going without getting my spirit fed. So that's important. Yes, he was good. Hey, Renew, who is this? Hi, how are you? Romello, what's up? Hey, Gina. Hey, guys. Thank you guys for popping on and rocking out with me. So don't forget, guys, we're doing a celebration June 5th. I got to put it on my website. I was going to say go to Celeste The Therapist to find the link, but the link is not even there. I'm glad I just said that out loud because I forgot. So I'm going to put it on my website today. But if you go to Eventbrite and type in the 100K toast, you'll find the link to it. And yeah, come on Zoom, celebrate with me. We're going to have a great time. There's going to be games. There's going to be giveaways. And it's going to be amazing. Oh, hey, Anthony. I did not barbecue today. No. Hey, Maurice. You already signed up. Yay! We're going to party together. So I'm excited about it. I can't wait. I'm actually excited and nervous about it, but mostly excited about it. I can't wait. Love you guys so much. Follow me on all social media platforms: Celeste The Therapist, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope. Y'all follow me everywhere. Oh, you love Jermaine? Oh, yeah, Margaret, you've been following my podcast from the beginning. You already know. I know you're going to watch the replay. It was so good. I know. It was so good. So you'll be able to check it out. Check it out after. I'm about to get off. Margaret, I'm about to get off right now so you can watch the replay, because you can't watch the replay if I'm still on. So, all right, guys, I'm really going to go. I'm going to play my little music, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. We're going to be talking to somebody else, and we're going to rock out tomorrow.
Every laugh, every smile, every hug, every kiss, every touch, every person in my life that I care about and love. But wait, maybe I'm getting too emotional. That's exactly what they say you ain't supposed to do. Suppress your feelings, never talk about your pain. Can't appreciate the sun without acknowledging it rains, right? That's right. So this a moment of clarity. And make sure you always protect your energy. You stay focused and your life gon' be lit. And you are now rocking with Celeste The Therapist. Let's go.